Hello, I'm Marjorie Kernan. I wrote a novel called The Ballad of West 10th Street, which is coming out with Harper Perennial in April of '09. And I describe it in brief to people who ask as a fairy tale for grown-ups who like to drink and swear. Well, yes, I did always think about writing a novel, and I often read books that I particularly admired and would imagine myself writing in that style. And so much so that sometimes I would actually write lines. But I never really put a pen to paper until one day when I realized that as a painter, I wasn't able to create what I wished to. I suddenly put down my paintbrushes and took up writing, and it was a very satisfying moment. In 2000, I decided I really wanted to spend some time in New York City, and I was staying on 11th Street in a funny little hotel. The room was the size of a steamer trunk, so I had to get out a lot, and I walked the village every day, just walked it. And one of the things that was going on then was that we hadn't had a decision about who our president was going to be. And so everything was very unsettled. And it's one way of keeping track of the world was to write down very carefully the observations I made of details of these walks around the village. And years later, when I began writing The Ballad of West 10th Street, I realized that this would be the perfect location for the family that I envisioned and their world and their adventures. So I was able to draw on that material and could really see it and feel it when I started writing. Being an antique dealer, I'm always fascinated by places that have history, and you can see the bricks and mortar and really feel that this is old New York, that this is part of the history of New York, and people like Harriet Beecher Stowe and other writers of that period actually lived there and visited those houses for tea. To me, it adds a tremendous amount. Fortunately, it's under heavy preservation orders, but it has changed a lot, and I never could afford to live there, and I never will be able to afford to live there. Thank you very much for listening, and I truly hope that you enjoy the novel.